praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I have a couple of articles here. I was going through, a few of the different sites this morning, and I noted a few of these here, really geared in the direction of, these remaining prophecies. Now, this one, the first one here is from Reuters.com, dealing with Iran, and it's pretty interesting considering the events that took place just not too long ago. I say about a week ago or a couple of days back, where Israel attacked certain parts of Iran with drones and so on and so forth. So it says here, Iran reveals an underground Air Force base, IRNA says. Again, this was published February 7th, which is today. So it goes on to read, and this is a fairly short article, but it goes on to read, Iran on Tuesday revealed an underground Air Force base called Eagle 44. And the first of its kind, large enough to house fighter jets, the official IRNA news agency said. The Eagle 44 base is capable of storing and operating fighter jets and drones, IRNA said. The report did not elaborate on the location of the base. Iran said it was one of the country's most important Air Force bases, built deep underground, housing fighters equipped with long-range cruise missiles. In May, Iran's army gave details about another underground base, which houses drones, as the country seeks to protect military assets from potential airstrikes by regional arch foe Israel. Any attack on Iran, right, here's the key part, quote unquote, any attack on Iran from our enemies, including Israel, will see a response from our many Air Force bases, including Eagle 44. Iran's Armed Forces Chief of Staff Mohammad Bagheri told State TV. All right, and pretty much this is the mindset, all right, or the point that the world is at. And I did a lesson yesterday where I believe it was the UN chief was warning about the world marching right into a wider war. Okay. Now, I also saw another article this morning where it was dealing with Elon Musk, basically talking about see if I can find it here. Right. So the title says, Musk doubts public awareness of World War III risk. And then the headline says here, most people are most people are oblivious to the fact that such a conflict could be imminent, the entrepreneur said. I mean, which is true. A lot of people, they clearly do not even read these articles or pay attention to what's happening outside of their immediate vicinity. A lot of people don't even know what's actually happening inside of their country, outside of their state, or outside of their city. Okay, so how much more outside of their country? And that's why this is going to take a lot of people by surprise when something suddenly pops off, and then they get the sudden alerts and, oh, this is happening here, and this is boom, boom. It's almost like, what the hell? Like this came out of nowhere, but really it didn't. It was a buildup. Okay, it was a buildup, and if you were paying attention, you would have seen it coming. Okay. Now, the next article here is dealing with the CBDCs, and yet some more news on the CBDC. Okay, which is going to lead to that MOTB being instituted. All right. All right. So it reads, UK is quote unquote likely to need digital currency, says BOE, or Bank of England, and Treasury. And what this is gradualism. This is a nice example of gradualism, where they move in a particular direction in a gradual way, bit by bit. Okay, so it starts off with, because when you actually get to the core of it, this is all just the outside narrative for the people. But the actual plan is that they will institute a digital currency. It's not that they're likely to need it, or no. The plan is that they will. These headlines and stories and statements they put out are a way where they can gradually transition people, all right, from the current system they're on right now to the end goal. So that's how they gradually transition people. Oh, they're exploring CBDCs. Oh, this country is using it. This country is using it. Okay, is there a need for us to use it? Then later on, they come out and say, maybe we might need to use it. Then later on, they come out, okay, so we are going to, and gradually they get to that point. But at the same time, this is also a tactic they use where, in order to avoid spooking people, the timelines they give you are not necessarily the timelines that they're actually dealing with. And to give you an example, when you go back, 2 or 3 years ago, dealing with this the demic, the big C, um, and they mentioned that, whoa, there was going to be a lockdown for 2 weeks, to whatever they said, slow the curve, or however they said it, and then afterwards, we would go from there. And 2 weeks became another 2 weeks, became another 2 months, then a year, and then so on and so forth. Now, do you think that before they made that announcement, they sincerely thought it would be just 2 weeks? Of course not. They knew it wasn't going to be just 2 weeks. All right, but in order to keep the people, um, not in a in order for damage control, just put it like that, right? So keep the people from bugging out. If they said we're going to do a lockdown for 2 years, or a year and a half, or 6 months, people are going to lose it. So they got to go 2 weeks, then another 2 weeks, and then just keep extending it like that. So it can also work in the reverse, right? If they tell you something like what we're reading here, it says the Bank of England, or BOE, and His Majesty's Treasury believe the United Kingdom is likely to need to create a central bank digital currency by 2030, according to a Daily Telegraph report on February 4th. This does not mean that they're going to wait until 2030 and then say, okay, now let's start creating this. And 2030 is a basically like a deadline for when they want to have all of this done. So they throw out a date like that, which you may say, oh, we're in 2023. That's a good 7 years away. All right. It doesn't feel like there's pressure, for change. But, gradual process. Okay, they could very well, it's a whole campaign, right? They got to introduce it to the people. They got to make it enticing. They got to, desensitize the minds of the people, have people start taking it, start transitioning companies and monetary, systems onto it, and then gradually phase out the old way, the cash and cards and all of those things, and then have it become the new norm by 2030. Okay, so let's read a little bit here. It says the digital pound. Let me zoom in a bit. It says the digital pound roadmap is set to be introduced next week, a government source told the newspaper. Deputy Governor John Cunliffe is scheduled to give an update on the BOE's work on the CBDC on February 7th. On the basis of our work to date, the Bank of England and HM Treasury judge that it is likely a digital pound will be needed in the future. BOE Governor Andrew Bailey and Chancellor of the Exchequer Jeremy Hunt told the Telegraph. So, I mean, it's going to show you that regardless of how you cut it or how you look at it, it's headed, the monetary system, really the world, is headed in one direction. So it says the BOE declined to comment on the article, but announced that a joint consultation on the digital pound would be released soon. So you got the digital pound, you got the digital dollar, the digital yuan, and so on and so on. It says the UK reportedly experienced a 35% drop in cash and coin payments in 2020. Cash accounts for approximately 1 in 6 payments. Debit and credit cards account for other 5. A central bank digital currency is a digital version of government issued currency tied to fiat reserves at a 1-to-1 ratio. The news comes just a few days after HM Treasury posted an open position on LinkedIn for a head of central bank digital currency. And when you have a digital currency, just like you have physical money, or sorry, physical currency, you have dollar bills and credit cards and debit cards. Where do you keep all of those? You keep that in your wallet. So when you have a digital currency, it is more than likely that you will have a digital wallet to hold and store that digital currency and everything else. And it may start off on your phone, but phones can easily be missing. Phones can easily be, stolen. It's soon it'll be like if you lost your phone, it's almost like you lost your wallet. You lost everything, right? And they're gonna push that, and eventually they're gonna push that MOTB, that charagma, the CHIP, okay, as a means for this. And we're gonna see it. We're all gonna see it. The whole world is gonna see it. It says, jumping down a bit, the digital pound is one of many CBDCs expected to be introduced across the world in the next years ahead, or in the years ahead. The European Central Bank has been discussing the future of a digital euro, with several countries, including Sweden and Denmark, also exploring the concept of digital currencies. So you wonder why the world, like this is happening on a worldwide scale, right? Because this is a worldwide event. Remember, Revelation 3 and 10 mentioned that the hour of temptation is going to come, which shall try the whole world. So we know that this is eventually going to lead to that MOTB. Now, in other news, we also have a few here, and I'm not going to really read these articles. I just want to get their headlines. But as you can see, you have more than 5,000 dead in Turkey, or Turkey-Syria, as rescue work begins. And this was a result of, as it says, the death toll from the powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake that struck Turkey and Syria early Monday surged to more than 5,000 on Tuesday, according to WAPO, which I believe there were multiple earthquakes actually over there in Turkey. It wasn't just one. Okay. And also right around the same, time span, you also had here New York State hit by strongest earthquake in decades. Okay, which this wasn't as high or as strong as the one in Turkey, but nevertheless, this also has some impact, right? As you can see, the 3.8 magnitude tremor occurred near Buffalo on Monday, and these are all part of prophecy. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna leave you with this, right here in the book of Matthew 24, and this is a very, very important chapter because it is an indicator, okay, of the signs that we are in the last days, the signs prior to the Lord's return. And this is Matthew 24 and 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Right? Earthquakes in diverse places. Let's type in that word. Let's look up that word diverse in the blue letter. Let's see what they give us here. Okay, that was a lot. Let's see. We have uttermost, says here, diverse. Looking at the Strong's definition, they have a whole lot of stuff here. All right, so now let's type in, they gave us diverse. Doesn't really help giving us the definition of the word in the definition. Or the word, yeah, anyway. Diverse. Let's get some synonyms, right? So diverse, Google says here, showing a great deal of variety, very different, various, right? Various, multiple, varying, sundry, right? So let's even take the synonym multiple for an example. And if you substitute that in here, right, as it says, and earthquakes in diverse places, or earthquakes in multiple places. That's why, and those are all different parts, different parts of the world, and so on and so forth. And it's not like, oh well, earthquakes haven't happened before, but what it is the timing of it happening, you know, along the lines of these other prophecies. Okay, the sequence of events happening and coinciding with other events. These are all signs. And as it says in verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Now, I believe when you actually go up to verse 6, it tells you what? And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right now, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine is a war going on there. You're hearing of rumors of wars with Iran and Israel, China and the U.S., okay, Russia and NATO. It says, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we're living in the times that the Lord prophesied about, that these would be the things we're seeing now are the same signs the Lord mentioned would happen right before his return, before the time of Jacob's trouble, before as it says, the beginning of sorrows. Okay, so as the scriptures also say, because what did the Lord also tell us? Watch as well as pray, because we're in some very, very dangerous times. Anyway, with that, Lord willing, you are edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruchah Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.